For the last couple of years, we've all gotten used to AI as this sort of creative partner, right? A chatbot, something that suggests things. It helps you write an email, it generates an image, it answers a question. But we are right on the edge of a really profound change, a moment when artificial intelligence stops just talking and starts doing. Today, we're diving deep into what's being called the Agentic Shift. Okay, so this really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. We're moving from generative AI, the AI that creates stuff, to agentic AI. And the key words you really got to grab onto here are autonomous action and goal-oriented reasoning. This is not just about a smarter chatbot. It's about systems that can actually perceive what's going on around them, make decisions, and then execute tasks to hit a specific goal, all by themselves. Think of it like this. Generative AI helps you write an email. Agentic AI sends the email, schedules the follow-up meeting based on the response, and then orders the coffee for that meeting. It takes action. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, that's the AI we know and use every day. The creative partner, the generative AI that drafts things, helps us brainstorm, and suggest ideas. But look to the right. That's where we are headed, the executor, the do-bot. This AI doesn't just suggest a project plan, it actually goes in and assigns the tasks in Asana, monitors the progress, and adjusts the timeline if things fall behind. It doesn't just give you a recipe, it orders the groceries from Instacart. And believe me, the market is betting big on this. It's projected to just explode, going from about $8.5 billion in 2026 to a whopping $45 billion by 2030. We're shifting from passive tools to active partners. So to really get our heads around this massive shift, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the physical robots, the actual hardware. Then we'll look at the digital brains that are going to power them. We'll see how this all comes together in our own homes. And finally, and this is super important, we'll explore how this is already creating a brand new blueprint for an entire generation's career. Okay, let's jump right into Frontier 1, Embodied Agents, and what a lot of people are calling the humanoid revolution. This is where agentic AI gets a physical body, the ability to walk around, to grab things, to manipulate objects in our world. And let me tell you, the hype around this is absolutely off the charts. This number tells such a powerful story. $38 billion. That's the revised forecast from Goldman Sachs for the humanoid robot market by 2035. And the key word there is revised. They didn't just bump it up a little, they increased their forecast six-fold. Now, a jump like that doesn't just happen. It's being driven by two huge changes. First, a mind-blowing 40% drop in manufacturing costs, and second, breakthroughs in AI that frankly surprised even the people who watch this stuff for a living. This number is Wall Street screaming that these machines are finally leaving the R&D labs and are about to become a real scalable industry. But for all that hype, there's also a very healthy dose of skepticism. And this quote from Morgan Stanley is the perfect reality check. They're basically telling everyone, hey, pump the brakes, look past the slick YouTube demos. Because there's a massive difference between a robot that can do a choreographed dance and one that can reliably stock shelved in a chaotic warehouse for an entire 8-hour shift. The big takeaway here is you have to be careful when you hear claims about full autonomy right now. A lot of what we're seeing is still teleoperation. A human with a joystick somewhere in the loop. That's a necessary step, for sure, but it is not the final destination. And this table right here, it illustrates that gap between hype and reality perfectly. I mean, look at Tesla's Optimus. Elon Musk is talking about a $20,000 price point, which is revolutionary. That's less than a car. But notice that little word in parentheses, aspirational. Now, compare that to the Unitree G1. You can literally go out and buy one right now for $16,000. And then you've got companies like 1X Technologies, whose Neo robot is already in limited trials inside people's homes. So yeah, while Optimus gets all the headlines, the real tangible progress is happening with companies that are already shipping hardware and getting these robots into the real world. All right, let's move on to Frontier 2 and see how this all connects. If humanoid robots are the bodies, then digital swarms are the brains. This is the software. The architecture that allows for the kind of complex autonomous action we've been talking about, not just in the physical world, but in the digital world too. So the key idea to grasp here is that the whole industry is moving away from the idea of a single, all-powerful hero AI. The future, it turns out, is in multi-agent systems. Think about it like a human team at work. You don't ask one person to be the engineer, the project manager, the writer, and the graphic designer, right? No. You build a team of specialists who work together. That is exactly what a multi-agent system does in the digital world. And this slide shows it perfectly.
A user gives a really complex prompt, something like launch a marketing campaign for our new product. Instead of one AI trying to figure that all out, the project manager agent steps in and breaks it down. It says, okay, I'll assign the coding task to the software engineer agent, and I'll give the content creation part to the content developer agent. They talk to each other, they share results, they coordinate, all of them working towards that single shared goal. This collaborative approach is just so much more robust and powerful than relying on one model to do everything.
And look, this isn't just some theoretical concept. A whole toolkit of frameworks has popped up to help developers build these systems. You've got these incredibly powerful general-purpose tools like Microsoft's AutoGen. For jobs that need really precise step-by-step control, there's something called LangGraph. If you want to create those role-playing teams, just like in the diagram we just saw, developers are using CrewAI. There are even zero-code platforms like AutoAgent, where you can literally design these complex systems just using plain English. These frameworks are basically the picks and shovels of the agentic AI gold rush. Okay, now let's bring all of this home literally. In Frontier 3, we're looking at the Agentic Smart Home. This is the place where the physical embodied agents we talked about and the digital swarms are going to converge to create what is essentially an operating system for your life. The race is on. I mean, for years, the smart home has just been this messy collection of talking speakers and smart light bulbs that don't really talk to each other. But now, the tech giants see a much, much bigger prize. They want to become the central command center for a truly autonomous home. Whoever builds the winning home hub isn't just going to sell you a bunch of devices. They're going to own the data, the platform, and the entire ecosystem of your daily life. It's a huge deal. And these are not just minor software updates we're talking about. Apple is reportedly getting ready to launch a HomePod with a processor as powerful as an iPhone's and a much, much smarter Siri. Amazon's Alexa Plus can now handle these crazy multi-step requests. You could say, hey, my friends are coming over Friday. Create a dinner party playlist, order all the ingredients for lasagna for 4 people, and schedule the delivery for 3 p.m. And it'll just do it. And Google is replacing its old assistant with Gemini for way more natural back-and-forth conversations. The goal here is to move from a reactive assistant that waits for you to a proactive partner that actually runs your home.
So this brings us to a really critical turning point in our conversation. We've talked a lot about the technology, the robots, the software, the smart homes, but this agentic shift, it isn't just about what machines can do, it's about what it means for all of us. With AI learning to execute these complex tasks all on its own, how are we, especially the next generation, just entering the workforce, how are we learning to work? So for our final section, let's explore this generation's new blueprint. We're going to take a look at how Gen Z is fundamentally rethinking the entire nature of career success in a world where their new coworker might just be an AI agent. This data from Randstad Digital is absolutely fascinating. When you ask Gen Z tech workers what their ideal work model is, the traditional single full-time job is no longer the top answer. The number one preference, at 25%, is a full-time role plus a side hustle. That's actually higher than the 23% who just want a conventional 9-to-5. This isn't just a preference, it's a deliberate strategy. They are building blended, diversified income models from day one. And this quote here from Dr. Amanda Main, a work psychologist, just perfectly captures the why behind that data. She argues that this isn't Gen Z being rebellious or rejecting tradition just for the sake of it. It's a pragmatic, clear-eyed response to the world they see in front of them, a world full of economic uncertainty and incredibly rapid technological change. It is, in her words, pure realism. And this slide right here draws a direct, powerful line connecting these ideas. With some estimates saying that up to half of all entry-level white-collar jobs are at risk of automation, Gen Z is making a massive pivot. Over 40% of them are now entering skilled trades or technical fields. They're becoming welders, electricians, mechanics, careers that require tangible, physical skills that are incredibly difficult for an AI or a robot to automate. They're looking for security that comes from knowing how to build, fix, and maintain the physical worlds. This contrast just perfectly illustrates the new playbook. The old model was a ladder, right? You joined a company, you climbed the rungs one by one, you collected titles along the way. The new model that Gen Z is building is a network. It's all about creating flexible pathways, not just a single, rigid path. They prioritize acquiring real, verifiable skills over fancy job titles. And crucially, they understand that true stability doesn't come from a single employer anymore. It comes from their own adaptability. So we end here. We've seen how AI is making this incredible shift from just suggesting to actually doing, from chatbots to embodied robots and digital swarms that can execute real-world tasks. And we've seen how an entire generation is already adapting their very definition of a career in response. So this leaves us with a really fundamental question to think about. As artificial intelligence evolves into a true partner that does, what will it ultimately mean for us as humans to work and to succeed?